Hello, everyone. We are Blue Peach, and today we are going to talk about the tier list because it's almost the time for ProQuest Season 3. So we are going to discuss among our team the tier list for the Hong Kong matter, and we'll base on the following criteria. First of all, we'll talk about the champion, the hero about on the advantage and disadvantage against all other heroes, and the and his advantage and disadvantage against the meta heroes. Like I think most of us agree the meta will be Dash, Iyslander, Bravo, Oldhim, whatever. We'll talk about it later. And the learning curve of the heroes and the rewards from expertizing it, and the upper and lower limits of the heroes. So we'll talk about all of the heroes from set 1 up to set 8, which is Dynasty. So let's get started. And each of us will cover a few heroes that we are more familiar with. So we'll start with Dorinthea, maybe?
Okay. I think before we talk about any heroes, I think we need to have a standard for the tier list, extra standard beside the 5 we talked about. Because I think FAB is a very skill dependent game, and that's why I don't think there's a single hero that can be really identified as it's very easy to be very good at it. But there are some heroes can be easier to pay out the upper limit of the deck, like if you draw a triple out of 4 into something like a Flame Core Awakening, Spreading Flame, etc. to present 50 plus damage OTK turns, and you will get a win while you don't need to really know what is your opponent deck or hero is doing, except their IC hero. With the same draw and the card order, you may have the same play style or play order with the professional player or the best player in the world, and you can't compare it with maybe a newcomer that's just played 1 month for it, because the draw already teach you how to play it. But there is some hero you can compare with, like Iyslander. It's require you to know more about the games, your own deck, or even you need to know your opponent decks is what they're doing, something like that, to maximum her powers. So she can't burst through, overwhelm your opponent without any setup. I didn't mean that hero like fight don't require you to set up, but you still have a chance to draw a out of 4 into out of 4. You have the possibility to do that, but Iyslander don't. So compare with fight, the difference between the best player and the newcomer using the same hero, for Iyslander, the gap between them should be much bigger. So I think we need to have a standard to make this tier list more accurate. So that I think we need to assume every player or every hero is playing by a good player, because we are talking about the ProQuest season is for more likely more competitive tournaments, and it's also the reason that why we need to do this, or this tier list is something, because if we just want a casual or more general tier list, I think the Talishar 203k games big data should show the best, and no one can argue with that tier list or the big data. So I think this is the tier list for the competitive or maybe tournament levels in our perspective, which is kind of Hong Kong matters or Hong Kong perspective. It should be have something fun or maybe different between us or maybe other country, and I think it should be having some different between our tier list and the Telesur big data. At least I think that will be one of the big difference between this. So yeah, I think everyone should agree this standard. We should assume the hero should be piloted by some good players. Yeah, in maybe they're in the same level or almost the same, something like that.
Yeah, sure. So
Okay. Yeah, I start with Dorinthea first. Okay, because I pay Dorinthea myself. For the first one about Dorinthea, I think she is having a very hard time before when Prism Man were still there, but now Prism is gone, and she have some very decent and good, maybe good new toys in the new set dynasty, like Anson Prime or Piercing, something like that. Those can give her some new toys or tools to have more chance to snowball the games. And also, due to the Iyslander and Dash Rising, the Oldhim player, which is another big problem of Dorinthea before, they start to switch to a more offensive or Argo playstyle, which make Dorinthea feel much better than before now. And I think she can handle most of the hero in the meta, but Oldhim and Iyslander is still something quite bad at all. But in before, I think it's like a 9-1 matchup, which is very hard to get over of it. But now, because of the switching of the Oldhim's playstyle, and people start to know more about Iyslander, so I think she has a much better spot now, and I think she is one of the good matchup against the Dash, which is one of the new big meta share in the meta. Uh, so that I think she's a decent choice right now. And one of the points is that you need to pay attention about Dromai because even those people may think that Dromai is a easy matchup because she has a lot of dragons for you to stack up the Dombe counter, but for the very good Dromai player, they won't let you do it easily, and because your deck should always build with low quantity of poppers, so it may cause you some problem if you don't pay the matchup correctly. It should be a little bit unfavorable for Dorinthea if the Dromai is a very prepared and very good one. So you can pay attention to maybe sometimes you need to keep some dragons on block for you to keep your counters. You can always have a go game first and attack the dragon first for guarantee the hit, and then you go for the players. But you need to count your go again cards in that matchup carefully so that you won't win out of it. And you need to make a decision once you think you get enough counter to get through them, because if you're always going for their dragons, like they use an S-wing to take your damage, it's already a loss because you may hit it on like a 8 attack to attack a S-wing is already a loss, but you need to do it for the counter keeping. So the most difficult part is that when do you decide to start attacking on Dromai face? I think overall she is a very good choice now, and if your area or region is not having a very good ice hero player or there's not much of it, she can handle like most of the aggros or some mid-range deck pretty well now, because the unsung point give you a free counters. If you can do something like attack with the Dawnblade first, people will start to maybe no block it before, but now after you hitting on it, you can do it after the attack resolve because it's already hit, and then you you pay out a Ansong Prime with like you only list a one blue card and the Ansong Prime to generate the counter on you. The first counter is already the best one because it gives you the breakpoint of the 3 defenses card. So it gives you more tools to pay around that. And she's a quite stable hero at all because she can block well and she always have like at least like 17 to 20 boosts, very standard. And having great efficiency, having a great effective health pool because she has great amount of armors and she synergizes very well with Sigil of Solence. You can just bait your opponent to block or no blocks and then sigils to punish them. She have a good cyber card like Dolphness to counter Think Below, which is very popular in the meta now. Glittering Steel Base Supremacy, Natural's Path, and Dawnblade itself can and this new toy Sandstorm Prime is already to get you back in the no block racing matchups because you will face someone who always no block you to not allow you to get a reprise trigger. You can use this card to chase up the tempo because it's already give you extra attack or extra snowball or like Supremacy or Nature's Path, something like that can give you an extra draw card to give you a more high value turns. And then she is also you have powerful to counter those attack healthy mid-range decks like the Pistol Dash, because all their blocking cards should be a attention card. It's always trigger your powerful, which makes them may just can't block with you at the end game phase. And yeah, I think overall she's not easy to pilot because her card value somehow depend on how your opponent is playing, especially how they defend you. She requires you to predict more or bait your opponent more to make mistake. You need to consider more things than usual stack, like for example, how many cards should you block? Because it's easy to, it will be much easier for your opponent to count what you can do in the attack reactions when you are having a smaller hand size. But if you have too many cards in hands, your opponent may just think that it's unblockable and go no block, which makes you cannot trigger your reprise effect. It's pretty tricky. I think the best Dorinthea player is the one who can predict or even control what your opponent is blocking or how many cards they are going to block, which makes the deck extremely hard to master. But which means when you can master it, you can have a very high ceiling with this hero. I think mastering Dorinthea gives you a great return at all. She is so unique with her snowball and attack reaction healthy playstyle, which make she always the best choice to punish people who make mistake or some not mature paid. She don't really have a 0 to 10 matchup now because Oldhim and Oldhim is changed and Prism is gone. And now the skill difference can turn the table easily with her nowadays because he has some new tools too. So I think she's not easy to play, but in the other side, other heroes are not easy to play in with her too because they need to switch a bunch of cards to make a very precise sideboard. You even may change the deck gameplay because only 3 Think Below is already not enough for Dorinthea attack reactions because she always has more attack reactions than your defense reactions. So I think overall she's pretty good. In this meta, she can handle fight, and yeah, and Dash is a pretty good matchup too, in my opinion. Yeah, so that I think Dorinthea is overall a pretty good hero now. I think she deserves a T1, but maybe at the bottom of the T1. So let's put her on T1 first.
Okay. So right. Thank you, Kaiser. So we'll continue to talk about Bravo, and I'll talk about Bravo because I think I play quite a lot of Bravo games recently, and before Uprising or even before Tales of Area. So I think Bravo did not get a lot of tools from Uprise from Dynasty because most of the Dynasty cards are more on the defensive side, like the Shield Bash or the Never Yield or other cards. But one of I think quite upgrade from for Bravo is the Buckle, which is very similar to the TR Thunder, but instead of discarding 2 cards, its on hit effect is to destroy an equipment with better one counter on it. So sometimes if the opponents are forced to block with the armors before you play the buckle, like you donate big attack with the crush effects, so they are forced to use the armors, and you can pitch the buckle to the second cycle first because Bravo is one of the most effective hero that make use of the second cycle because usually Bravo don't shuffle the deck at all because Showtime is usually played on the first turn only and not very you don't use remembrance in lots of matchup. And Bravo do not have a very one-sided matchup against most of the heroes, I would say, because even against Dromai, if they are going with the new, I couldn't say new build because some of the Dromais, their builds are more on the red attacks like the Scalpel, the Rebels, the Blazing something, the zero cost 4 go again. So they are more on the health trading sides with these attack actions instead of going full dragons or the embers or other package. So instead of going to attack with dragons every single turns and let you pop their dragons, and they will try to combine both of them. So even for Dromai, they can somehow play effectively with you. So, but Bravo has an advantage that it handles Dromai normally quite well because of most of the Bravo cards are usually 6 attack power or more. So they can trigger the Phantasm and pop their attack actions easily, or the dragons. And Bravo can have a fair matchup against Dash, which is another big share of the matter. And Bravo, I would say Bravo suffers from playing against Dorinthea. Maybe it's quite a corner case, but I will take it into account because rising in meta, I would say the Rhinar because when they play the Polaris Fellow, you usually cannot chase back the temple unless you have some continuous disruptive turns like you Crippling Crush followed by this Spinal Crush or Pummel and so on. So I would say Bravo is a fairly stable and safe choice for the meta. You might not win with Bravo because it has some very bad matchup against Briar or Fight because if you don't change your disruptions well and they have a channel mountain heroic or the Art of Wars or even they don't need the Art of War, they just triggers the mask and they can pull out some like 20 something turns easily. So if your local meta is not full of Briar or Fight, I think Bravo is quite a safe choice for it. So in this case, I will put Bravo into I would say tier 2 top or tier 1 bottom maybe.
Let's put it. Yeah, and then go first.
And I will add a little comment because if you play Bravo a lot, you know who is Kill McCriff, the most experienced Bravo player, I would say. And Bravo is a hero that rewards the experience a lot because if you play a Bravo mirror, you understand the difference between different players because you can if you plan your turns well, you'll win in the mirrors. So I think Bravo is a hero that rewards a lot in the experience. So yeah.
Jack, I have a question.
Yes.
What's your opinion on Bravo is the highest win rate on Tasha data? Do you think we will see a lot of appearance in the ProQuest?
I think if we only take into account for Bravo appearance in Hong Kong, I don't think there will be many Bravos because we can almost have a list of players who is playing what hero, and I don't think there is a lot of players who are experienced in playing Bravo or interested in playing Bravos because it's too fair. I would quote this from the Bravo Discord in the official channel because Bravo is playing a fair game. The most unfair stuff he can pull out is like CNC pummel or crippling crush pummel or spinal crush pummel, and it's not comparable to other 4 or channel mountain hero, which has some a few like you are playing an arcade games and others are playing turn-based games, and you are playing Street Fighter with the Fire or Briars, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. So, but if we talk about the global scenes, I would say Bravo is very very popular among the world because if you look in the Talisha or you try to you do not need to play in Talisha, you just spectate the games, you'll see a lot of Bravos, and it's easy to play. And another big factor will be it's quite cheap to play, I would say, because you do not require. I mean, CNC is not a very compulsory choice for Bravos. You can build a Bravo deck for like $300 or $400 US dollars, or maybe 200. You can, because the equipments are quite cheap, except for the Crown of Providence, which is very commonly used generic items. So yeah, I would say Bravo is very popular in the world.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll put it into tier 1 bottom or tier 2 top.
Yeah.
Let's move to Katsu maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Our ninja god.
Not anymore. All right. Katsu, although he got a bunch of new cards to use in Dynasty, but he's still not a very good choice in my opinion, because those cards have a new mechanic, Crouching Tiger, and the combo line with it. But sadly, it still doesn't fix his problem in the Guardian matchup, because Katsu is easily to fatigue back in the day with Oldhim matchup. And the first question, if I play Katsu, is why I don't play Fight, right?
Yeah.
Because although he has some good hit effect, which make him can search 2-tap card for his combo, he's still outputting damage like Fight and Archer Force or Spreading Flame Turn. So making Katsu he need to do a lot of things and set up to deal the same damage that Fight can output. Which is I don't think Katsu is better than Fight. That's why I don't think he's good anymore. Back in the day, Katsu can also play in Turtle or the Fairy Argo build. Now I don't think Katsu can play the Fake Flag Turtle style. Also, Katsu doesn't have much tools to deal with Iyslander. The only good matchup in this method, I think, is Dromai because of Mass of Momentum. But again, Fight can do that and can do that much better. So, yep, I don't think any reason why we are gonna play Katsu instead of Fight.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
So
why do you want to give up a card for another card when you can use Fight to get a free Phoenix Flame?
Every turn.
Every turn, yeah.
I think
Katsu is special because of the combos are feeling great. Like you're playing Street Fighter, so you play this combo into that combo and it feels cool.
Yeah, it's fun to play, but not very good.
Yeah. So in this case, which tier will you put Katsu in?
Well, maybe
happy
I
face
find
Happy
tier
face.
2 bottom or tier 3.
I think it's a tier 3.
it's
Yeah.
not smiley face.
He's playable, but nah.
Why? Look at his face. He's happy.
Have his face for Azalea. Yep.
Yeah, happy.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
what?
Oh,
I'll get other first.
Technical problem.
Okay, technical problem resolved. So
Okay.
Technical problem.
let's continue with the
let's go the next one.
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because we are going on set basis, so we are going set by set. So let's move to Rhinar, which is another hero which will be covered by me because I play a lot of Rhinar in recent weeks. Rhinar did get a lot of upgrades from the dynasty. The most undebatable one, I would say, the sub HP down because it's very, I would not say consistent output because it still have a very high requirement on you have to discard a 6 attack power card first, and then you need to discard another 6 attack power card to make it effective to 12 attack. But it's more achievable and with the FFS draw and discard attack cards. And another very interesting card will be the Berserk. And I've tested for around 40 games, 40. And out of that 40 games, I think I have chained the Blood Rush Battle and Berserk together for like 5 or 6 games. And for only one of them, I have successfully bring my opponents from 30 something health to 10 or less. But it's still not a win for me because he can my opponent can come back with the tempo, and I think I screw up of 1 or 2 turns with the draws, and he still win back. And so I think the Berserk is having a very low consistency, and I would not suggest anyone to play that. Yeah, but Rhinar do have a very good matchup against Dromai because it's just going too fast for Dromai. And Rhinar do have I would say 2 main different builds. One is going for the values, which plays around with play with the pummels, the 2 cost attacks like the smash with big trees, which is the build for Chandler Toe, who won the calling in Singapore, I think, and the PTR winner Joe Slough in the recent PTR events. And another build will be built based on the draw and discard build, which is I would say have a much higher limits and the lower limits, because with the Bloodrush Fellows, the Wild Rise or the Pulping and the Savage Beatdown, it can pull off some like 26 to 30 damage in one turn with one Bloodrush Fellow. And there are some corner case builds with the Royal Head, the crown or something, I forgot, and cashed in. And if you somehow cash it into like draw 2 cards in your Bloodrush Spell turns, and it is not full reds, and you'll have a very good day with it. But Rider do suffers a lot from playing against some aggro decks, which goes faster than him or more consistent than him, like the Briars and the Fire, because they do not request so many specific cards to go big or go wide. They can just have normal 4 hands and they still do like 10 or more damage. But for Rhinar, you have to get some specific cards to pull off some high damage. And even if you intimidate the Fire or Briar, they don't care, because they are not going to block anyways. So they don't care about they can block effectively or not, because they are just bring more damage to you. So Rhinar do have still have some good matchup against Dash, maybe. I would say 50-50, because even with Arc Smash, if you don't draw it early, you usually don't have the tempo or the cost to play it, because Arc Smash is a free cost card. And if you mess up with your dice rolling, you will suffer from that. And like you play a card with free cost and you destroy nothing. And I usually do that. So I would say Rhinar is good against Bravo, but not into Oldhim or any I0 like Iyslander or even Lexi, because if they create Frostbite, or they have for Oldhim they have a Stagnamite, they can easily stop your or the channel like Frigid, they can easily stop your Blood Rush spell trades. But it can steal some wins against everyone if the Rhinar high rolls. So I would say I will put Rhinar into a similar role, similar place to Bravo, which is the tier 1, but not the very consistent one. Because if you are having a good day or you are lucky, you can easily win anyone, because the Blood spell is just too stupid with the new cards. But if you don't even draw your bellows, or you have not very good hands, or you roll your dice into consecutive ones, you can just drop the game and go for the side events. So in this case, I think I would put Rhinar into tier 2 top, because it's just too inconsistent to win big tournament like ProQuest or RTM.
Yeah, I think Rhinar could have a better position in outside Hong Kong, because Hong Kong people they play that they are very aggressive. But
I think Hong Kong will play the most safe choices, which is not good for Rhinar.
yeah.
Okay, so that's for the set 1 heroes. Let's move to set 2, and I will try to begin with Azalea, which is I think it's not a very popular choice. So who is going to talk about it?
I think she is better than we thought, or people thought, because she got some new tools too in the Dynasty set, but she have a hard time with like Oldhim because he may just easily fatigue you, and she's not do not like Lexi, who can more consistently to put out some destructive. She's Azalea usually like going for more tall arrows. Give the arrows a buff, some huge buff to buff of its attacks, and the destructive part is lesser than Lexi, which make her may suffer against hero like Fight or Briar. So I think she's better than before for sure, but she's still not very viable in the meta right now.
Do you think the new bow, the same bow, is a very good upgrade for her?
I think it's pretty good. I do lose couple game in Talasha with Azalea.
Somehow,
when she can really do she want to shoot you once per turn a very big arrow. And
I think
I play Rhinar a lot in Polaris, and whenever I see Azalea and because my cyber don't have a lot of defense reactions, I was like, I try to defend, and I got hit by the on-hit effects, but then I cannot fight back in similar strength, and I was constantly losing health in the trades. So somehow Azalea, I think, is quite good against the Rhinars or others who requires a lot of the hands to pull out damage.
I do think the new boat is called the Great Boat. I think first it is very good because the aim counter was very powerful. When the drill shot and the mobilizing shot and the one who can destroy your arsenal with the aim counter was very powerful. And
I think it's the Heat Seeker or something.
Should be easy.
Yeah, but the Heat Seeker doesn't quite aim counter. But overall, the bow was very good, and I think people underappreciate this hero. And I highly recommend, if you're not in Hong Kong, then you should prepare. You should prepare for the Azalea matchup. If you are running fight, because it will be tough for you.
And I think as it's outside for the meta talk, but if you are not in a hurry or you're playing for years or months, you can expect the outsiders which will bring some upgrades for Azalea or the Rangers, because the lore and the preview or the discussions are already giving out information on the Rangers. So and the assassins. So we can expect some upgrades for both of these classes. So in this case, what will you put Azalea in the tier list?
Well, as I said, I'll put in a smiley face. But
I think she is better than Katsu, to be honest.
It might be.
I agree with that. I think she is better than Katsu now.
I think at the moment it's quite a viable deck because Fight is so popular.
Yeah,
and
maybe
you can pick Fight pretty
Katsu
easily. So.
is the one who needs to go
I do think Katsu should be on the smiley face.
Yeah, I think Katsu should be on.
Maybe.
I think Azalea at least is a tier 3 top to the tier 2 bottom. So putting her on tier 3, I guess, is okay. And then maybe we can adjust it in the final discussion.
After more heroes putting on the list, we may just compare it soon, and then we can adjust.
Okay, so let's move to Viserai and
our Viserai expert who doesn't win with an Viserai before.
Yes.
I think Viserai at this matter is still a decent deck. It got no good cards in the new set Dynasty for the Argo Viserai. The card are most likely for the slower game plan, like Looming Doom. I think.
How about the Deadly Dude? Isn't it a new set? Or you don't think it's viable in the Viserai?
I actually put the new crown, the crown of what? Crown of Dominion. To gain a gold to play cash in Viserai. I think that is a only card that worth to try in a Argo. And also another 2-cost attack, the create wind chain or +2 one, but that is. But after testing that, I think that is not that consistent because sometimes you want wind chain, but you are not allowed to choose because your blue pitch is attack or not attack, something like that. So you can choose. Then you don't have those wind chain for your wind flash, something like that. I think that card can replace Subtitles, so I still I put it out. I didn't play it in my new list. So, but for the cash in part, the Dominion part, I think it's a choice. So if you want more. If you want a more stable Viserai build, you can play with your Crown of Providence that can help you in an off turn. Then you should definitely still go with Providence. But with Dominion, you can have a much higher roll turn. But once you got a 4 no attack or 4 attention turn, then you just give a turn to your opponent. So it kind of depends on what you want to choose, but I think it doesn't affect that much on the power level of the deck. So about this deck, I think it is quite consistent because it can easily reach a high value with 3 or 4 card hands, usually by playing Malvern Skies, then play attack, then Rosetta. And you can easily get a 12 to 14 turn with 3 cards only, then you brought 1 card, so your 4 card hands become a 15 value turn, so it's good. But it also can sometimes have very big turn with Module Tie and Swarming Grimfell. But you, as I said before, you will still have some turn with 4 attacks and 4 non-attacks, so it can mess you up pretty hard. You can give your tempo right back to your opponent, then you can lose the game right away. So, the reason I feel like it's still a decent deck because it can have a high value and also it deal mixed damage with arcane damage and physical damage, so it is hard to block. So I think it is good against some aggro deck like 5 because you can have some good value trade with them and you can play cards like Reek of Corruption and Consuming Foundation to disrupt them. So if 5 don't got a 4 card hand, they usually don't got the mass value, so you can still raise them. And it is very strong against Dromai, which is a good deck right now. because you can aim sky, you can muffin sky, then play attack to attack the dragon. Then you can still trigger the heat effect to create some wind chant. So the damage will still come through when you are dealing with the dragon. But the most problem I encounter when I play this deck is play against Ice Hero, which is also a meta pick for many people like Oldhim and Iyslander, because as I said before, it needs a 3-card hands to do things. So when it got destroyed, like a pummel or something like that, you can do nothing with that turn in that turn. And also it needs a perfect resource sometimes, like the most turn you pay out is like a Morphin Sky, then Shun of Self Form, then Rosetta. It total costs 3, which is a blue pitch. But if they give you a Frostbite, then you can have a turn again. So I think it's very weak against those Ice Hero because of the Frostbite and the destruction, like Channel Lake feature, like Blizzard, and also something like Pummel, CNC. Yeah. For now, I think it is not a good hero to play in outside of Hong Kong because Ice Hero is still dominance. Everyone is still playing Iyslander and Oldhim, so I think this is not a good choice. But in Hong Kong, because less people are playing Ice Hero in Hong Kong, I guess, so it may have a good chance in Hong Kong. Yeah. Yeah, I missed that part. Sorry. I think it's not hard to pilot, but you just have some turns that you have to get mass value from the module type, and you have to know the cards. You have to know how to play against Ice Hero. It is the most skillful part of this deck, but most of the time it is quite easy to play. So
will you put him in T0 or T1?
I think it is either the back row of tier 1 or the top of tier 2. Yeah, I will still play in top of tier 2 right now because there are too much high zero around the rows.
I'll put him in front of the Rhinar because Rhinar loses to him. I don't have that many boosts to pitch for the refill in Runeblood or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you just intimidate them. They just no block, then they hit you with a 16 or 20 turn.
I told Moshe Tai and then refill in Runeblood. I was like, screw that. Okay. Let's move to Kano. When are you going to talk about Kano?
Yeah. When we talk about Kano, before the dynasty, actually in Worlds, in the CC format, we can see it in the meta games breakdown. And after the dynasty release, we got a very interesting card called Brainstorm. So actually, we can see the gameplay from the Team Cup, playing the Kano by Michael Hamilton, and I think this card is changing the Kano's play style. In the past, we actually brought 2 and play 2, and when we go the very low life, we use the Storm Rider to end the game. And from now, we just if we paint the Brainstorm style, we just need to set up the item, like Potion of Luck, Energy Potion, and we will try to set up. And actually, we got ahead the count of Dominate, and we're trying to get more the card for set up the items. If we got those items and the Brainstorm, we can start doing the the high roll,
You
the
mean
high
the
roll combo. Yeah.
okay?
The main I think the main card is the potion of love and energy potion, so you can get many source to any resource to do the brainstorm, and you can draw a lot of cards with the Kano instant to play the Tome of Ethering, Tome of Viserai, and the Shift. Actually, the Shift I think is a very good card for Kano this debut, because if you using the Kano instant, if you refill the shift and you pay it instant, you can get back your action point in your main phase, so that you can pay more card from by hand. So it will make more the high damage by the brainstorm. So I think in the main meta, if we against the very fast hybrid hero like Dash, I think that is not very good for it, because Dash will get a very very fast game. You can't get a lot of time to set up the item. So and the Dromai also, if it got the timer, you can't timer and many dragon, and I think you can't get a lot of time to set the position. So I think these two hero is not very Kano can't very easy to win it. And I think Fight and Iyslander lot it seems better to against it, because uh in fact you can raise it, and Iyslander, because right now is not very fast to it's not a very fast game, so he you need to play very slow, so the Kano can have some time to set up the item for this and can read it. So in overall, I think Kano is not a good choice in the antimatter, because if your region got many Dromai or Dash, and also the Briar, so but I think that is quite good on it. So in the meta, I think maybe not the high tier. I think they on tier 2 something. What do you guys think?
I
think
was to put him in front of Rhinar because I lost a lot to Kanos.
yeah, I think one of the reason Kano is not that good anymore, because with the Iyslander, many hero now bring free AB,
Yeah.
and that can make Kano's spell is less threatening. Yeah,
Yeah, the evil wildfire, if you have more ABs, that will very effectively reduce his power and the combo turns.
yeah. Some of them even bought Oasis, right?
Yeah, Oasis
Yeah.
is a big upgrade for everyone against the wizards, because it prevents fall, and the blazing ether or the evil wildfire just have a much lower impact with the against the Oasis. So I think Kano will put it into tier 2 middle or something. Let's move to Dash, and I think Dash is the one of the largest shareholder in the matter. So I think Dash is worth discussing a lot.
Okay, so we talk. I think when we talk about the Dash, she is definitely a new queen from the dynasty. He gets a lot of support, such as the pulse wave harpoon that everyone hated, and the Hanabi Buster. It is very good for the Argo plan. And talking about Dash, I think she is pretty good against amongst those tier 0 and tier 1 heroes, although we don't have now. But it is very funny that the Dash Harsh matchup is about the tier 2 heroes. For example, the Rhinar and someone we will talk about later. But overall, against amongst those heroes, she can perform very well since she has a very different build. No matter the Hanabi build, the Matt Rogers hybrid build, or even my favorite Mechanoid build, they are all very competitive. And it is very hard for someone when their opponent reveal a dash, who are hard to tell what they are going to. But overall, I highly recommend you presume the hybrid dash, then you can make an easier sideboard to face against it. So we should talk about the stability, and obviously Dash is the queen of stability. She has a chamber plus purify plan, which is good against the Oldhim. Originally, since nowadays Oldhim they play very aggressive to get rid of the fight, and I don't think this matchup will be as easier as before. So to be honest, I think against Oldhim, it is a slightly unfavored matchup. I think most people they may not expect it, but this is the truth. And what I talked before, the Dromai, which is your worst matchup, I think is 30-7, and the Rhinar is 50-50 to 40-60. But overall, other matchup you have about 50 win rate, which is pretty good, and she is very stable, and you will presume you will see a lot in the meta game. And the third is it very changeable? And I think if you want to change a dash deck, you need to change the whole deck, because every dash deck they want a chamber, purify, and around 6 to 8 variation in their sideboard, which means the only thing they can change is their main deck. So I don't think there's any flexibility of the deck inside the deck. And if you want to build a main deck, you have to pick a style you want. And in this matter, I think Matt Rogers hybrid build was the best, because it can face against amongst those heroes and is the most stable. And talking about the dash ceiling, her ceiling was insanely high, with the maximum velocity turn and the Tomb of Vandal plus the Harrowing turn, which is easily to break through you. Even though if they don't have the Tomb of Vandal, the Harrowing turn with the 4 to 5 pistol shot, you can't block it. And since most people they bring back the pistol plus Harrowing, I don't think our dash is the optimal option anymore. So I highly recommend you try to raise it against. I highly recommend you raise it instead of try to block out it, because it is very hard the thing. The fun fact about Dash is, if you don't play the Tomb of Vandal, you will have a little disadvantages in the mirror, which is very opposite, which is very not encourage me to play dash, because if you want to play a dash mirror, then you have to put at least two Tomb of Vandal in the deck, which I don't like it, because I was always unlucky and I boost Tomb as always. So, but
So
if
you're meaning for the dash mirror, if whoever draws the first Tomb of Yano is going to have a very large upper hand.
yeah,
Or-
it's kind of forcing you to bring the Tomb of Vandal, which I don't want. And but it is I also want to mention a point that if you want to play dash, please play it in the first week, because it is very easy to be point it, and the meta will bring a lot of hate cards to it, such as Smashing Good Time with the Spellbound Creeper spells, no matter the Viserai or Briars, and also I expect there are more erase phase. They will exchange the Command and Conquer in the second or third week, and erase phase is a tough problem for dash. I highly recommend you play the dash in the first week, so that you won't have that much hate. But in the second or the third week, I don't suggest you to play it. And in this moment, I think dash is the deck to beat. So I will firmly to put it on the T0. And I think she has the capability to beat most of the hero in the meta. And yeah, the most important thing is play this on the first week. It increase your win rate, I guess. And yeah, that's all.
Well,
What do you think? I have a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think, or what is your reactions when you see the big data on the Talisha that Dash is having a lower than below 50% win rate? Because within our testing or our perspective, we all think Dash is one of the best deck in the format, but the result in the general praise or the result in the big data reflects the opposite things. What do you think about that?
It is a pretty interesting things. I think it shows Dash wasn't as easy as fight, because I can see there are more. There's a large portion of people who play Dash since when they saw the Philadelphia Metal Harden that the Dash win, and then more and more the PTI in Hong Kong Dash win, and then they think Dash is the best deck. They just try it on the Tasha without know how to play it correctly in Dash. So I think Dash is I think the win rate about Dash in Tasha, which I remember is around 46 to 47%.
Yeah.
I think will go up when the people get more familiar with it. But nowadays the 47 percentage might not be as accurate as ProQuest, because as we mentioned before, we assume that our opponent was in a higher level. Then I think is at least higher than the average Talisha opponent. So I don't think the big data can clearly reflect it, but Dash it means Dash needs some practice, not bring that deck.
Yeah, I think one of the point is that because Tertia came out quite late, I would say. So, and also new player will test their stuff in Tertia, right? So most of the player are playing the new decks, not the Dash, because Dash is just strong in I think in this half year. So everyone picking up old heroes, so they need time, right? So they are more familiar with the new hero like Fi, like maybe Oldhim, something like that. But Dash is, I think, too old for them, so they have to they have to put some effort on it. And when you try, you lose. So
Yeah,
it might be the point.
Yeah, there's also
Yeah, I think the third point is that the Mechanoid come out and everyone get hype of it, but this deck is very and
yeah.
just start to try it. Yeah, and it's not easy to pilot. I think the Mechanoid one should be one of the hardest one in the deck build to play it correctly. So it's maybe one of the points.
I want to clarify that when I posted out the Mechanoid dash deck tag, my win rates, you can show it on the February. It dropped around 30%, 30%, and I think it shows this deck need a lot of practice, and you need to know how to block correctly. And it was a fun deck. When you, it's just very awesome to see a neutral Mechanoid and win with a high octane and then swing with multiple times, but it takes practice.
Yeah. We all agree that it's a good deck because we all lose to that before.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it takes a lot of practice. Yeah, I agree with that. You practice a lot. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the set 3 heroes.
No,
We don't have a set free hero here.
Yeah, set 4
three?
heroes.
We're talking about the CC heroes today, so yeah.
Set 4 heroes. Set 4 heroes.
Let's move to set 4. And we are lucky or unlucky that set 4 only have 2 heroes left because 2 of them are yeah. So farewell to
strongest set. One of the strongest set in the world in the world.
Let's move to Levia. Well, to be honest, I don't have very much experience with Levia because I simply think she is not a viable hero in the meta or in the game because she don't have much support from the cartoons and all the things going on. And but I think Levia is very similar to Rhinar, which has 2 separate or very different builds. One is going to the values part, which is maybe main sense or PH in Hong Kong do plays a lot, which play as less as possible of the blood depths and just trade for values. It's just I think it's just a value machines with the most stupid equipment in FAB. I would say the Carrion Husk. Yeah, the Carrion Husk because it can one cast stop the CNC, stop most of the things, or in a very general term, it blocks 6 for 1 card, and yeah, with no cost.
It's zero card. It's just
yeah. Well, it does have the blood depth, which takes you 1 damage per turn after block. But yeah, I think that's not that significant. And for the blood depth builds, I would say it's like the Katsu build in the tier list, which is this smiley face. Because for blood depths, most of your opponents will just try to block out everything you pull out and fatigue you and let you die in blood depth yourself. Because eventually you either run out of the graveyard or you don't have enough 6 attack power cards in the graveyard and you miss one turn and you take like 10 or 20 damage in one turn. And that's just not working. So I'll focus on the value build, which is you pull out something like this mesh of batteries, 9 pummels, things like that, and if you ever draw the Bloodrush Bellow, you go with the claws, and then another big attack, which is pure values and nothing special about it. And with that case, I will place Levia similar to Rhinar, because I don't think he is worse than Rhinar. Well,
Really?
I would say
Really?
Levia do have one advantage over Rhinar, is no one is expecting you are playing Levia, so you have some kind of surprise. And
But the mechanic of the fire doesn't make people to mistake.
yeah, well, sometimes you make mistake because you don't know. Whoa, there is such a card like attack for 9, and or maybe attack with 6, go again and attack with 9. So you don't expect there is such a high damage maybe, and maybe you are not familiar with the 9 pummels build, so you fall into that, and Karen Huss is still a stupid card, I would say.
Yeah.
So I will place it. I'll place her similar to Rhinar, maybe a bit lower. So I'll put her with Azalea. On the
I think it's lower than Azalea. That's
so
what
yeah. I put her. I put her behind Azalea, I would say. But
Is it better than Katsu?
In my
Is it better than
opinion,
Katsu?
okay. Let's
Well,
vote.
I have
How
to
many
say,
of-
Katsu has some very high roll potential too, with
Yes.
those Crouching Tiger and also 4 turn.
Okay. I'll just keep her on the smiley face. Sorry, PX. I failed. Yeah.
I think Katsu as fight is the same with the fire as Rhinar
Yep.
for me. So it should be sitting on the smiley face here.
Okay. So all of you agree with
Yeah,
me?
actually, I agree with
Okay.
all of you. I think the blood depth mechanic is still very worse in Levia, because when I know you're playing in a blood depth style, like Jack said, I will just fall out, because you have some problem with, if I don't attack you, you have no chance to give your card or forfeit your card into the graveyard, and you run out of it. So I think it still have some problem. The Blood card is not having the value they should have now, because you sacrifice your life, or you may take a lot of damage if you may take a big punishment if you don't have the proper card, or you don't have the you don't trigger your hero ability, but you didn't reward it with that huge punishment or
Yes.
potential. So that's the problem right now. But I believe Levia will be OP one day, because current house is just too good. This card
Okay.
is just
I'm buying all the Karen has IC, I would say.
yeah.
Okay.
I can tell Levia will be OP one day, but not
Okay.
now.
Yeah, sure. So let's move to Boltyn. I think Kaiser, you're going with
Yeah.
No, it should be
or Shing?
Tsang.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have played Boltyn for a while. I think it is still not in a good spot. So for the Boltyn deck, we usually go for the Saber build, right? Because the Raiden build is not as good as other aggro deck. So the new cards coming out, the spirit is the legendary, the spirit of something. I don't remember. It is quite strong. It can do some
woman, I would say.
Necklace of Boltyn.
Yeah, necklace.
It's the legendary item.
Yeah, the legendary item. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it can do some amazing thing. It can let you have an extra action point with Luminant Ascensions in your combo turn. So you can either go with the Saber combo with one less soul, because the on hit, and you have to on hit to charge soul, right? So sometimes your opponent just block out your
two less action points, because usually you play two Luminant Ascensions.
Yeah. Maybe you get 2 action points, so you can have 2 less soul to do your combo. And also the one important thing is that it can help you to avoid Bracer, because it's a deadly card to Boltyn. With one more action point, you can just pay one more, then you can continue with your combo. So I would say it is a very good card for your combo, but the other side is that it's just a one-off card because it's a legendary card. So it's quite depend on luck, because you are not going to search this card by Beacon of Victory, because you can charge that, then you have to stuck a card in your hand, something like that. So you won't do this, and you just have to draw it up. Then it's a one-off in your 60 deck, so it's not consistent, I would say. For this deck, in order for this deck to win, you have to do your combo fast enough. So it's mostly depend on when is your combo piece coming. So I would say this is also a luck factor, kind of. If your combo came fast enough, then you have enough soul, then you can have a chance to win. But otherwise, if your opponent draw their big turn first and they give enough pressure to you to either kill you or make you low enough that you have to block, you can never do the combo. So it's also weak to the destruction before your combo turn. So I would say it is not in a good spot. And not to mention that when you play against Iyslander or Oldhim, they will always got channel leg feature, Blizzard, something like that to make your combo not work. So and also it is hard against Dromai. The only favorable matchup against the Meta Hero, I think, is Dash, because it doesn't have a lot of hit effect. You can just block and wait for your combo, then you can have a good turn. Yeah.
But now she have Pulse Wave Hyper.
Yeah.
You can play around that because you can start your combo with 3 cards. So, but yeah, it's still a very hard card to play against. So
Yeah, unless you are Joshua Lau, then you can play this deck.
Yeah.
Unless you're Joshua Lau. Yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
you are Joshua Lau, yeah.
Yeah, go check.
Go check his stat tag is amazing. Yeah.
Best
I think, and also I think actually this deck is pretty hard to play because you have to block correctly for you to charge in some turn to do the combo, or you have to design when to leave when to keep your combo piece in your card, or you have to know what is your opponent capable of. Sometimes they will just CNC pummel you, so you have to prepare for that. And sometimes you can prepare for that, right? Because you just draw social, right? So I would say it's actually quite hard to play and not that good in this matter. So I'm not recommend I'm not recommending people to play this in their ProQuest if they want to have a good result. It may be a bit harsh to say, but yeah, that's what I thought.
So where will you put it in the
I think it still have some decent chance against non-ice hero. So maybe I will put it in tier 3 behind Azalea, or a bit. I would say they are almost the same. So I will just put it in Azalea, either behind something like that.
Okay, lady first.
Yeah, lady first.
Sure. Okay, we are done with the set 4 heroes, so let's move to set 5, and let's begin with Briar maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Briar, just like Viserai, she doesn't have much can use in Dynasty. Beside the Majestic, Cryptic Crossing, the 3-cost yellow fish, attack for 6, 3 rock. But this card worked pretty well with Rainbow Spark, but still it costs 3, so Briar always want to swing that Rosetta Fawn, so this card might not very good with her. And just like Viserai again, she have now the Clown of Dominion in this set, which make Royal Briar possible. With the gold token, Briar can use it to cast cash in for free and draw 2, having a 5 or 6 hand easily, that making Briar can have a very high roll potential. Imagine just if we have a Channel Mountain Heroic already in play or in hand, that turn must be explosive, right? So in fast matchup, Briar might not very consistent because she need to very depends on the CMH. But in the longer matchup, Briar, I think she is doing pretty well with the embodiment of Earth, making her can block 4 easily. The biggest problem for Briar now in this meta definitely is Iyslander. Well, this matchup is very favored in Iyslander because she can disrupt Briar's turn pretty bad by utilizing the embodiment of Earth trigger to respond playing a blue card or a channel like Frigid. Can really stop her turn. Or maybe just the Rosetta Fawn, and it's still good enough. Also, she make Briar's CMH turn much less threatening, which is her main game plan. While the other matchup is Dash. Dash is much harder than before because the new broken card, I would say, the Pulse Wave Harpoon. That card can mess up your whole turn by pulling a Earth card when you have your Channel Mountain in your hand. Or maybe just pull out your only attack reaction card if you already block 1 or 2 hand that she can easily boost 3 times and take out your last attack action. Well, even if you're trying to 30 dash, you still want to play an attack action per turn to get an embodiment and chip some damage. But that card make this plan is very hard to do because you can always can switch between the Argo Waste game plan or the Fatigue game plan. And well, nowadays Briar have a couple different builds between Belittle, the Royal Briar, Spellbound Creeper, or the Snapdragon. Each of them have some different game plan and playstyle, I would say. And player might need to adapt the build in game or just need to guess what's their opponent build before the cyber. Because if they are bringing the Royal Briar, you can bring Sensi because they don't have the Clown of Providence, right? And if you know they are playing Belittle, you can play Crush the Weak or something like that. So I think Briar is not very easy to deal with now, with all the change and buff she got, and also she can run the smashing good time, right? Okay. Overall, I think she's pretty decent, but yeah, the main problem is only the Iyslander. I would say she's might be tier 1 and maybe tier 1 middle, I would say. I think she might
I'll
be.
put her on the tier 1 for top.
Yeah, she might be tier 1 top, maybe. Yeah. For now.
Yeah, she has so many variants, so that it's not easy to guess which one you're building, which may cause you to bring the wrong sideboard. So, and she has so many power right now. I think she's quite good at all.
Yeah, I think players who play Briars need to adapt their deck. If their locals was many ice hero, then I suggest you to play Royal Briar. Otherwise, I think the original Briar is good enough.
Oh, the one thing I want to mention is the Royal Briar, the Little Briar is much harder to pilot than the original Zero Go Again Briar. Yeah, player need to practice a lot and they stack licks. So yeah, that's one thing to consider.
Okay, next one.
We'll move to Oldhim.
Yeah. So I tried some Oldhim recently. Although it's not getting a good card in the new set Dynasty, but it's still a very strong deck. It is very consistent. You can always block or turn with your aggro cards like Sales Belting, Association, or Iyslander go again with some big attack. Then, but at least you can swing an IC4, right? The Ice Hammer is just too strong because just doing 4 damage with a Blue Pitch, you can also create a Frostbite if your opponent take the hit. So the Frostbite still counts some value. So you can easily get a over 4 value from a Blue Pitch. And with this said, I think it's not much difference from the Rose Oldhim, which they are playing very aggressive in order to match up to Iyslander and fight, because I think in the Iyslander matchup, people find out that blocking Iyslander is not a good way out because they can always set up Frost Heads and kill you in a turn, right? So they are playing the large attack to raise Iyslander, kind of, so they can have chance in this matchup. And against Vice, you can just play a lot of really strong Guardian attacks that with the destruction effect, something like Crush of the Week or Spinal Crush. If you pair it with Pummel, they can easily lose a turn, so they pass back to you, you do something similar, and you can just kill them like that. Yeah. But I think the strong part of this deck right now is because it have access to almost the most OP equipment in the game. Equipment like Front of Seat, like Slide Mine, Rampart, the Ice Hammer I just mentioned I think it's one of those are most OP equipment in the game. And they also provide many different styles for the Oldhim to play. If you want to raise aggro deck, you can play Slide Mine to slow them in order to gain tempo in between. If you play against decks like Dash, they always play the pistol plan against you, so you can just rampart to block out them, or you can play while you can play very aggressive big attack. Yeah, so I think it is still a very, very good deck in this matter because it has a very good matchup against all the meta deck, I think. And yeah, what is your guys' thought on this deck? I think it's definitely a tier 0 hero for now.
I think Oldhim is having a difficult time against Vice still because even if because Oldhim need a lot of cyberspace for each of the matchup. For like if you include Crush the Weak, you probably do not have smashing good time, or you do not have disable, which is not very common, or you do not have choke slam, or the frost fang, which is very good against the aggro decks. So the meta distribution and the cyber choice is a great challenge to the Oldhim players. And if you do not have the correct cards included in your deck list, and you might have a very difficult time against the Fire or Briar. So I think Oldhim is a very good deck, but it depends on what is your local meta, or who are you going to expect to see. Because I think Oldhim is actually having a good matchup against the Dash.
Yes, and you need to know how to play Oldhim correctly.
Yes.
For example, how to which timing to ice react give you the most beneficial.
Yes.
And Oldhim, although most Oldhim will play aggressive, Oldhim is still not easy that play. So I think if we assume all players are the same level, I can say that Oldhim is bottom tier 0 to tier 1 top, in my opinion.
I think Oldhim should be a solid tier 0 right now. He can always block out, even if you build him aggressively. He still have a very good block value at all, and people always need to worry about you going to fatigue them. You doesn't need to really have a fatigue pen, but people will still afraid of it, which makes your opponent easily to make mistakes. And because on the other hand, you have a very aggressive playstyle with pummels or many huge attacks, like dominate for 10 or even a normal 10, which is very huge at all. People still need to bring in some defensive card if they have. Like if they have a single, why don't they just bring it into the deck? But it's always create another illusion that, or if some of the people think, or all the people are going to assume that all team are going really quick, we play very defensively, and suddenly they go with a fatigue pen, which will be very annoying.
We'll draw the game.
Yeah, so I think the tier is already very, very, very good, and I think he's one of the heroes that always define the meta. So I think he's very good.
Yeah,
The tunic with the Crown of Seeds is still a very huge power spike to every 3 turns, because you just gain an extra 1 damage prevention and extra hand.
yeah. One thing I want to mention, I think some bodies they might not know why Oldhim is then good against Dash nowadays. It's because aggressive Oldhim, you play item and play defensively, you usually wasn't as quick as the Oldhim. So sometimes you are forcing to boost to minimize his rampart value. But if you boost one of the items, then at end Oldhim can switch to the fatigue pen. So overall, Dash was pretty tough to deal with Oldhim.
Yeah, with if the Oldhim players know how when to pitch the channel like bridges or the hypothermia to the bottom of the deck, and they draw it fast enough with the Crown of Seeds, or they just play defensive enough, or the Dash player has not the has not got her setup like the purifiers with the induction chambers fast enough, they cannot effectively kill Oldhim. They Oldhim can wait for the channel like fridges and have off turn from dash and pull off the damage or destruction they got.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is about Jack pawns before. I think this deck is strong in a tournament because if you know your local meta, for example, you know there are lots of dash in your local meta, then you can adjust your deck build, right? So I think it is strong because it has access to all the strong Guardian cards or Ice card or Elemental cards. Like if you play against Dash or if you play against a large Dash or Iyslander meta, you can just put in all the Tang attack with the Thundercrack or the Glacial Footstep. Then you can have a good chance to win against them. If you know your local meta is towards against the aggro deck like Briar or Fi, you can just put in the Frost Fan and the promo. Then you can just kill them easily because you just take away 2 hands from their turn. So suddenly they have to give you back the tempo. Then you can just roll it over. And I think there are not much that can do that because Oldhim has such a good card pool to play with. Many good cards in his card pool. Then if you know what is in your local meta, then you can build a good Oldhim deck to play against them, but not in other deck, I think. So
yeah, like if you even if you don't include the exposed to elements in your deck list, but your opponent might still have thought you have the card in your deck or even in the main deck, not in the sideboard, because if you ever have that card, and it is very destructive for some class to have their for some heroes to have their equipment blown by the exposed to elements. So somehow they might have to play around the card, or they have to respect the card, even if you are not sure if it's in the card pool or not.
yeah,
So I think Oldhim is having one of the best card pool among all of the heroes. So we'll put Oldhim into the tier 0. Agree? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to Lexi, the elemental ranger.
Yeah, talking about Lexi, she is the only heroes in TOA who doesn't get any complaint or banned card. Compared with two other heroes, for him get banned by the pulse, and then Briar, we don't need to talk about it. The ball lighting was very infamous, but it doesn't mean that Lexi wasn't competitive. Oppositely, Lexi wins Battle Hardened in Singapore, which is very surprising for me because, as we all know, Singapore is a Bravo meta, which I was totally shocked because I don't think Lexi have a good matchup against Bravo. The fact is, he beats 2 Bravos. If I remember correctly, he beat Bravos in the top 8. And after I look at his list, it's pretty obvious that he built counter the local meta. So if you're going to play Lexi, I highly suggest you don't totally copy that deck list. And Lexi is obvious underappreciated hero in the meta. And with the new set Dynasty, the drill shot was the best card in my opinion. Compared with the searing shot, that if it hits it, you lose 1 life. Losing 1 armor was always better than losing 1 life, because if they are legendary equipment hasn't blocked yet, it means you deal 2 damage to them. It's kind of forcing them to block. And also Seeker, I think is also a pretty good. It's just like a Snatch with a arrow type, which can buff by the ring races.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love Lexi because she not only have Art of War, she also has ring races. So I kind of assume she has 2 type of Art of War, and also 3 of the kinds, which you can block 2 cards left, and then you just pitch 3 of the kind. Even you block with only the 3 of the kind, and then you turn like 3 of the kind, you can still get a quite good turn. And I think Lexi is a very meta dependent hero. She is very good if your locals has a lot of fight, and I think she also have a even to slightly advantage matchup against Iyslander. And as we all know, fight will get very popular in the first week of the ProQuest. So Lexi is always a good choice. And we need to note about that Lexi wasn't good against the Oldhim, which is Oldhim is also a tier 0 hero. If your locals has a lot of Oldhim, I don't suggest you to play Lexi in the ProQuest. And other problem of Lexi is her stability was just medium. You usually have no arrows hand, which is very awkward. Like Briars, they are holding 4 long attention, which you can do nothing. And at least Briar have an embodiment of it can block 3, unless he doesn't have it. And I think the stability of Lexi was the problem of it. But if your games doesn't happen 2 times of this situation, I guess you can still have a pretty good games. And the other part is deck flexibility. I think if your meta has a lot of Argos heroes, obviously you can have more ice hate, the free frostbite, the red one, and then also you can use a force fan and more chilling ice thing, more ice fused card. And if your locals, it's just like the Singapore one, has more bravos and brightness, some mid-range deck, then you can pay more lighting with the red Heaven's Course and the lighting press. Then you help you to get through the Guardians and the Rhinos. So this deck ceiling is good, although it's not the highest amongst those heroes. If your opponent plan a no block turn and then you just hit him with a big endless arrow turn, it can do a lot of damage to them.
So where will you put her in? Like tier 2 top or tier 1 bottom or? Where?
I may put a surprisingly spot that you guys might not think. I will put it on a tier 1 bot. This deck is just like first when we talk about the meta heroes, you won't come in your first mind that I should have a sideboard hate against Lexi. And with the popular of the Crown of Providence, the CNC is also getting less popular, which is good for Lexi factors. It is quite hard to counter because usually it don't worth it. You have a stronger heroes to face for, so you need to put that sideboard slot those heroes, not for less. So I think Lexi is in a pretty good spot, and I'm sure he will earn more points, more points in the ProQuest, and then hopefully the player will realize that how good Lexi are. And talking about the next set, the Dynasty, they give some a serious support, which I can assume if those card was good enough, it will go to the Lexi too. So I was looking forward to this deck, and I think it has a huge potential, and it is a deck worth practice because this deck in different players' hand will have a different. It will have a lot different impact. So this deck is pretty good right now.
You mean the support cards from outsiders, the next set, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just like the sets before, the ring racers, and then actually they keep supporting the rangers in the last two sets, and those cards was very good. The ring racers, the
drill shots,
the Boltyn shots was insanely good, and then
the drill shot from asset.
Not mentioning that the Lexi has the largest card pool, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure which heroes amongst TOA has the largest card pool, but Lexi has a very large card pool originally, and then she gets every support for every last few sets. So I think she's in a pretty good spot right now.
Okay.
Actually, I agree with Alan. I think Lexi is quite good and very underrated, but she's very hard to pilot because you need to count your arrows correctly, and you have to have a way out when you are one of arrows, or maybe you draw a fall on arrow cards. Sometimes you need to leave your arrow behind for the next turn to avoid the problems. You need to make those decisions, which is very high level. And I agree with that. Every card that support Azalea, except that that card is specializations for Azalea, it may also help Lexi at all. So she got all the good things. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So we're done with the set 5. So let's move to the Uprising, which is quite a significant set, I would say, because all of the heroes are quite dominant in the meta. So let's begin with 5.
By inverse, everyone knows that there's the most people are picking 5 on CC in the world. But after the Dynasty release, since not much I have to say no card for supporting the fight because the new set is for the like Katsu. So fight is not really big change after the dynasty. And as Putin said, fight is better than Katsu because when he got five hand combo, you will get more damage to than Katsu. So fight will against the non-disturbing heroes, it will very good, like Briar or Rhinar and Dorinthea. So you can keep the 5 hand cards to get a big combo. But I think because since before the dynasty release, dash you 5 versus dash is just like 50-50. And but after the dynasty release, the dash get a very powerful card. We say the pulse ray harpoon. So if the dash play it, you just get destroyed the whole turn. So I think right now is not a very good choice for picking 5 to in this ProQuest season. And also, but if in your region, if you got a lot of Dromai, I think it's very I think fight is still good because it got a mass of momentum. You will get a finishing for the first hit to hit the dragon, and you get the momentum draw, so you can get high damage for Dromai. And so I'm thinking the fight maybe still can be T1, but you will not choosing it if the region is lots of T0 hero. What do you think about it?
Well, actually, I think fight is pretty good now because although he do have some trouble with the ice hero, but you can always just set up or play around it. So we can see the tier list. Fight is pretty good on Dash and pretty good on Oldhim, Briar, and the other hero. Beside Lexi, Lexi is definitely a tough matchup for Fight. But overall, I think Fight is pretty good, I would say.
I'm not sure because Oldhim will get Ice Thing, and the promo you can keep all the 5 hands, and Iyslander also. If they have the channel leg, you can't do much thing on it.
Yeah, but I mean, he can play the Belittle or even the yellow Belittle to play against Iyslander, which make this matchup much easier. And with the Oldhim, yeah, he can play a lot of cards. Yeah, he can play Frostfang, but
yeah,
I don't think many people run it now. And also, no matter what, Fight still have one of the most powerful equipment in this game, which is the Master of Punching Legs. Yep, is it? This is like a opposite current has. It blocks 6, but it also deals 6 in the mass. So what do you guys think? I think Fight is pretty good now. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Fight is kind of degenerated in my world because he is pulling off 2 constant high damage to anyone who is not disrupting him. So if you do not have a Spinal Crush for the Guardians of Dusk, if you do not have Spinal Crush, you don't have Pummels, or even Frostfang or Crush the Weak, you are going to take like 12 or 14 per turn, even if their fight is not drawing exceptionally good.
I think I also agree that fight is very good. It's already a very very well built and very meta identifying deck. He may not having the big risk turn or having the like unlimited upper limit. Like Briar, maybe generic heroic can create infinity value, but something like that, or some other stuff, or maybe just a 4 attack card is already like 12 to 15 damage in a turn, and each may stay for like 2 turns, which generate like 30 damage for a single card. But fight is always having the most stable damage output, a high damage output deck. He can always present a 15 plus turn, and having Art of War or Spreading Flame or Flame Core Awakening, something like this, or Belatu, is push up his damage even more, and he can go wide even with only 2 cards. 0 for 3 Dragonic attack with Gorgan, and if you have a Bull Pitch, you can go for the Ember Raid and then use 1 cost to do his hero power to get a Finish Flame. This is 2 card for 7 damage, and that damage is from 3 hits. It's not from a single hit or from 2 hits. It's from 3 hits. It's very difficult to block, or it's very hard to not leaking some damage. So I think he's always a very very good and the best definition of the Argo deck in the meta all the time.
Yeah, I think Fi is like because this is quite easy to play, I would say, and you have to basically just do your own stuff no matter what hero you play against. I think maybe except Iyslander because the defense is too much. But even against Oldhim, I think it's like maybe they just CNC or force fan pummel you for a turn, then you just wait for another turn and do the kind of same stuff. So it is quite an easy deck to pilot. You just have to find a way out to maximize your hand value. You don't have to do much about your opponent, I would say. Mm-hmm. Then it is quite and I would say this deck is also pretty consistent, because even though everyone is saying fight just win because of Art of War turn or Spreading Flame Core Awakening turns like that, but you will find that there are actually quite a high chance for you to do those turns, especially after you do one Art of War turn. It will be a high chance that you can do the second one also. And the third point, yeah. And also the third point is it's a very punishing deck. For people who don't know how to block this deck, because the combat chain go to wild, there are many chip damage. It's easily for you to have a chance to block wrong or block. You don't block right for the passing lanes, or you don't block whites for the hit effect that come after. Something like Snatch in the past always punish you if you block wrong. So I think it's kind of that you pass the ball of thinking to your opponent. They have to think how to block you. They have to think how to interrupt your turn, instead of you thinking how you can disrupt them, something like that. You just pay your mass value from your hand. So it's just quite an easy deck to pilot, I would say, and it is quite a punishing deck for people that are not that experienced. You will definitely lose to this deck. So.
I actually not quite agree with that. He's very easy to pilot. I think it's like for most of the matchup, yes, but maybe against the IC hero, he had many little skill, like how you avoid the IC reactions of Oldhim, or you can set up something for Iyslander, like the energy potions. Some of them are one enough at. But yes, you can do your own stuff in most of the matchup. You just need to play it correctly on your own turn. There's not much hero that can pull out the same amount of damage like you. But for this kind of deck, you need to pay more attentions to pay perfectly, because the matchup is so short. Like you play against dash, normally the dash also go really quick against you, because blocking a fight is already not the correct choice. So that when the matchup is going too short, you need to pick correctly, perfectly, to pull out the best or the maximum damage. Or maybe you need to block the correct card or the correct attack to make the matchup in your favor. So I think it's also require you to take some time to practice or try out. But yeah, I agree. If you have no time for practicing, or you have less time to practice for all the matchups, fight is already the best choice for you, because you only need to focus more on the IC matchup, and you try to practice a few games or some games into the quick matchup to maximize your damage, or to know where's the tricky position, like the how to counter or how to play against or play around the new card of dash, which pull your handouts. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely the best choice for you to pick up at the last minute. But yeah, he still require you to practice some games.
Yeah, what I mean by easy is when it compared to other difficult hero. So it's hard. I think it's much easier than something
Yeah.
like Iyslander. So
Yeah, it's always comparative to when we are referring something is easy or difficult or good or bad, because we need a standard to refer to. So I think we all agree that the fight will stay in tier 0, even if he is staying in the last of the tier 0, or maybe even in the middle like Oldhim, but he's still definitely a tier 0 hero.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to think which position he is, but he's definitely like
He's just not that dominant.
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
So let's
next one.
Okay, sure. Let's move to Dromai or Iyslander. Maybe Iyslander first.
Now, okay. I think Iyslander is maybe one of the, or maybe the best deck in the format right now. Or if she is not the best, she must be the second best in the format right now. I think she only have two really unfavorable matchup at all. The first one is a very, very skilled and well prepared Dromai, and the second one will be Kano. These two is the worst matchup, I think, for Iyslander. But for the not very good Dromai or a standard Dromai, Icelanders still can beat them if they didn't bring the correct deck build or the correct playstyle into Iyslander. And I think she's really, really, she's a really stable hero because she has a lot of extra cycling card like Cold Snap and Polar Blast to help you to cycle the deck faster. And she can always prolong the game to make both players have more chance to make decisions. Even if you're playing against fight, you can still somehow prolong the matchups, even though the matchup is still always very short. But yeah, it's still longer than the other heroes at all. And her deck build is pretty flexible. Her core deck size is not that big at all. She synergizes very well with defense reactions because you always want to block and pay out the value like the Michael Hamilton's deck list. And she has a great arcing damage, and she has different destructions for different decks. She can cast both aggro and slow decks. Like if your meta have a lot of aggro decks like Fight or Briar, you can build her with Blizzard, Brain Freeze, Channel like Fidget, something like that. And if you have lots of meta share with Guardians and Dorinthea, you can build her with more defense reactions and more high block value cards. She has so many flexibility on the deck build and the playstyle. She can play many different game plans. The very first released it, someone paid her with a full physical deck list in Thailand and win some tournaments. And then she evolved to some more arcane damage focused deck build, and then switched to like very destructive deck builds with Fox Hexes. And then the final form now, many people are going with the Michael Hamilton hybrid Iyslander build, which give you a lot of value in playing different cards. You attack with 7 and 8, and you block. You can block with 2 cards. You can punish people who don't block with Channel like Frigid, with Blizzard, with Hypothermia in your arsenal. Which give many chance to your opponent to make mistake against you. And she can play different play style into different deck within one deck build. For slower matchup, you can always go with Hexes and Ice Eternal, something like that, to OTK your opponent. Against some very aggro deck, you can play out a tempo based game plan. So she's quite all-rounded, and she can cater most of the matchup in the meta. But I think she have 2 problems in the ProQuest season. The first one is everyone know that she is a very good deck because of Michael Hamilton showed her power to the world in the U.S. National and also the World Championship. So which means people should well prepare something for her that you may not expect it, or you can be surprised when you first met that secret weapon, which may cost you the game, and that's always enough for a tournament because he just need to win you for that game, and that's all he need. The second problem is that this deck is very skill dependent. She has different power level on different level of player. The best player can pilot her like like Michael Hamilton can play her extremely well and powerful. The opponent can literally do nothing against her. But if you are not familiar with your deck, what is your cycling upcoming, what is your opponent deck is doing, what is if you can't be very proactive, and you have not enough knowledge about the game, you may have a very bad time with her because you kept a wrong arsenal. It can stuck in your arsenal for the whole game, and which makes your hero ability nothing. If you don't know which card is good against a certain hero, you may suffer. Like when you play against fight, you need to play perfectly. Because I think this matchup is pretty 50-50. It's go either side. It's depend on how good is the player and somehow the first few turn draw order. If you get a very early channel like features, you have a better win rate. But you need to figure out what is coming next in the next few turn for you and your opponent. Are they going to have arsenal? Are they going to have a big turn? Are you going to have tools to disrupt him or not? So you need to make a lot of decisions to make your deck good or make you a good Iyslander player. It takes a lot of time to practice and learn how to play her because you do a lot of stuff in instant speed is also a very difficult things. She's always a choice more than solid right now, but I don't recommend you to pick her into the ProQuest season if you didn't play her before or you have not enough confidence to pilot her well. Because, like I said, if you make the wrong decision on this deck, it's very punishing because you have lesser health pool. You don't have many equipment that can block very well. You have a bunch of toolbox class in your deck. So, yeah, she's very good, but she's also very hard to pilot. And everyone is going to prepare very well to play against her. So, if you play her before or you master her before, I highly recommend you to pick her. But if you're not, I don't really recommend you to play her in the ProQuest season.
Okay, so I think we still agree shares on the tier 0 list because we are talking about the more experienced players who are in similar levels. So with the enough knowledge, I think Iyslander will be one of the best decks in the meta.
Definitely.
So she will definitely be in the tier 0s. So one minor question. Would you think she is better than Dash or worse than Dash?
I think better.
Okay, one vote.
I think she is the best in meta. So.
Okay, two votes for Iyslander.
Yeah. I vote Iyslander.
I think even she can be discussed is the best deck in the FAB history. So I love Dash, but it is slightly below Iyslander. If the Iyslander player was
here to like Iyslander.
I don't think
best in FAB history.
I don't think we need to do this. We just put it on the first of the T0.
No, never mind. I already did that.
Okay,
Just
yeah. Let's move on.
Okay, let's go to Dromai.
Sorry, before Dromai, I think Iyslander is very good, but only on the right people hand. Yeah, she's very hard to pilot, to be honest. So that's the part. I don't think she will be the best deck in the FAB history because it's just she won't be very popular. She won't be very popular because not many players will have successful event or result with her. It's not as easy as like something like Starvo. Yeah, so I don't think if we count a popularity, if it's as popular or not, as one of the point, is this the best deck in the history? I think Iyslander will never be one of them because she will never be very popular because she's just very hard to pilot at all.
But she deserves a Iyslander tier in the right player, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
like my parameter. Yeah.
Let's
Okay,
move
yeah.
to Dromai. We are getting late. Yeah.
Okay. I think Dromai is very good deck and very underestimated. She is the one who actually 10-0 people. Like I think she is a auto win into something like Kano, and Azalea, into like Lexi, something like that. But she is very vulnerable against fight. She blocks really well. She only have a few 2-blocks card if you build it with the traditional way with a lot of dragons. She can play a long game. She can blocks out. She can have the literally high risk effective output in the game right now because she has a lot of dragons that matters. And she has a very good card value since she's a illusionist. So she always have a very high card value. She's quite stable at all. She's normally the one who is blocking out. So she has a great FH block. She has a great FH block value per card. Because she always won a lot of forward cards and a lot of card of her is free blocks. But on the other hand, she is one of the most unpredictable hero. When she revealed her hero, you can't determine she's going fast or being the mother of the dragons. She can be quite flexible. She shares illusionist and dragonic card pool, which is make her having a good amount of choices. And she scaled pretty well with the generic card like Faithful Scene, Sink Below, or Command Conquer. So I think she's pretty well right now. She has a decent win rate against Iyslander if you pay her correctly or build her correctly. But yeah, still, I don't think there's any hero that is going to have an easy day playing against Iyslander. But Dromai. What? Sorry.
You don't think anyone is going to have a very easy time against Dromai, right?
No, Iyslander.
Okay.
Because when you play against Iyslander, you need to think more about her destructions. But if you guess it correctly or play correctly, Dromai is the one who can always beat Iyslander. So I think she's pretty well. And I think she also have a decent or maybe at least 50-50 into Oldhim and a very good win rate against Dash. So at like 4 tier 0 hero, she can cater at least 3 of them. I think she's having a good spot. But the only problem is that the fight is pretty deadly. It's very hard for her. So I don't recommend you to pick her if your area are having a lot of fight player.
Also Briar.
Yeah, also Briar. Yeah, I agree. This deck is overall a very difficult. I think it's quite difficult or more difficult than you think to pilot it. You need to be very good at planning your game and pre-stacking. You need to use Furnace to set up second cycle for the long matchup and decide which card you can block and which shouldn't. Also, which card you should pay it now or which card you should keep it in your deck until the next cycle. So it's more difficult than you thought when you were playing this deck. But overall, if you master, you will get a great reward. And she also have a way out even if you put a lot of 6 attack in your deck for the Phantasm Pop. But still, she's not very good against extremely fast deck. Overall, I think yeah, she's quite good. I will place her in the top of the T1 deck, or yeah. So she's a very decent choice if your area have not much fire or briar. She's the very best choice for you. But you need to practice a lot into different hero because she has different play style against different hero. You need to take time to practice it. Yeah, I think that's all. Overall, I think this matter is quite open. So every hero may get a win in the ProQuest. So I think it's quite good right now. Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
To the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arakni.
Well, Arakni, I played it, built it in 2 style, aggro plan or the control plan. Well, but I think the control style are better for now because he doesn't have much advantage playing aggro. His damage output is not that high in general, compared to Fire or Briar Dash. So I would like to build him in the control side. So while he do have some matchup that can do pretty well because of his ability, the odd one for your opponent, and you can banish that card with your contract. While those heroes are like Dash because you can go with the fatigue plan or just block them out. And with a lot of reaction card, you can actually chip damage over time. And another matchup is Boltyn because Boltyn want to set up a combo, right? You can delay the game plan. Well, overall, he doesn't have many ways to against the meta hero like Dromai or Oldhim. So that's make him not very good choice for now. But let's see after the next set, will it make him playable in competitive CC, I would say. So I would maybe put him into T3 or the... Yeah, I think T3 is fit him. He do have some matchup that he can play, but not many.
Yeah, because I do play Arakni for a few games or armories too, and the most problematic for Arakni because he has a very limited card pools, and the contracts for him is not very consistent because if you look at his cards, some of the cards like if you banish 2 or less defense values, you complete the contract, or you banish the attack reaction, which is these 2 cards are not going to hit anyway. So for some of the like 1 cost or less, or attack actions, or natural base go against, it might be easier to hit, but you still let the probability decide you, because even if you have the contract and you look at the opponent's top deck first, you still have to decide whether you keep it or not. It's like you expect the attack to be hit or not hit, and it's very difficult for any inexperienced player to play it correctly, because it's like a very similar deck archetype in another card game, like in Magic we have Lantern Control, which is also works in similar ways, that you look at opponent's hands, look at opponent's library's top, and you decide whether you keep it or you put it into the bottom of the library. It requires a lot of the understandings on your opponent's deck list, the meta, because the meta will also change your opponent's deck list and sideboard options and what they have played, what they have pitched. So it's like a very brain power draining deck that you have to keep highly concentrated throughout the whole games. And I would not suggest playing it in a very large tournament because you can hardly stay concentrated for such a long time. It's like Iyslander, but it's not rewarding as Iyslander because he's not giving out enough rewards for your correct plays, I would say.
But hey, he do have a card to just win a game with Royal Briar or Viserai.
Yeah.
So if Royal Briar or Royal Viserai become more popular, maybe he can. Yep, he can do something pretty well.
Yeah, I'd love to see such a dramatic finish for even one game. I would love, because it's just epic to see that. But I'm not expecting you to even sign in Regicide in your cyber list because you.
I do play one. I do one
meta share of the Royals. Will you keep Regicide in your cyber?
I'll play one in my main deck. Yeah.
In your main deck.
Blue block
Yeah.
free. It's a blue block
It's
free.
both.
I think we can expect there are maybe some cards in excess that can force your opponent to be a royal.
Yeah.
I hope.
Force your opponent to be royal.
Yeah, because we all know that outsiders will get a lot of support.
maybe in next set we'll have some cards that makes your opponents to be royal or not royal for a few turns or maybe permanents, or as long as the item stays there. But yeah, that's the spectaculation for the next set. For now, we will stick to the meta tier list first. And okay, do you guys have any changes to the current meta list? We are having Iyslander in the top of the tier 0, and yeah, I agree with most of us that the meta is very open, I would say, because it's like we have 4 T0s and 5 T1s, which is more than half of the available heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even which heroes in those 9 heroes win, I won't be too surprised.
Yeah, obviously. Even if we see some heroes like Rhinar, Viserai, or maybe Boltyn to take a ProQuest win, I think it's still possible because they are really capable to do such a things, and it just requires a correct matchmaking. Like you don't face something and you high roll something, and you can make it.
Yeah. To conclude, overall, like I said, I think the meta is quite open. Every hero can win a ProQuest. I think the most special thing of FAB now is this is a very difficult game, and the game is still very young compared to some very large card games in the world and old card games in the world. It's still very young. I think especially in this open meta, the knowledge and the experience about the matchups and your heroes is more important than your hero power level at the moment. It is still more about how know well you are in with your hero and the matchup more than the power level. A well prepared Azalea can still beat people since she has the advantages of she has more chance to play with the meta hero, but the meta hero players may not have a chance to play against the Azalea. You have the power of unknown, and yeah, that's totally enough for a one-off tournament to beat you once. So I think you should always pick your most well hero and try to get some idea to beat your majority in your region, and you can still have a ProQuest winning. I think the always T0 choice is the hero you know the best in the moment. Yeah.
Yes, the experience do differs a lot. So
I think
yeah.
I think that's all for our video content today. But you can give us some comment to let us know what you think about our tier list and what kind of content you're willing to see. We're going. We will try to provide it in the upcoming soon because we are going to provide more video later. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave us a comment. It will be always great if you can subscribe our channel and our Facebook. You can have our link in the descriptions of the video. Not below. It's below there. So yeah, we would love to communicate with all the players all around the world, and we're very happy to play this game to make a lot of new friends. So let us know what you think. Yeah. So I let Jack to conclude.
Well, you just say what I'm everything that I'm going to say. So thanks everyone for your time. I think this video is long enough. We are like 2.5 hours, which is really out of most of our expectations. But yeah, feel free to reach any one of us, and we'll love to discuss anything about this game or the tier list or anything about the video. So
yeah, or we can put our Discord, personal Discord link for the player who want to reach out for specific things or heroes. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day. See you.